Welcome back to What You'll Learn. My name is Adam Ashton.
And my name is Adam Jones. Right now we are reviewing Chapter 10 of The Laws of Human Nature. Beware the fragile ego. Ooh.
Chapter 10. Beware the fragile ego. The law of envy. We humans are naturally compelled to compare ourselves with one another. We are continually measuring people's status, the levels of respect and attention they receive, and noticing any differences between what we have and what they have. For some of us, this need to compare serves as a spur to excel through our work. But for others, it can turn into deep envy, feelings of inferiority and frustration that lead to covert attacks and sabotage. Nobody admits to acting out of envy. You must recognize the early warning signs, praise and bids for friendship that seem effusive and out of proportion, subtle digs at you that under the guise of good-natured humour, apparent uneasiness with your success. It is most likely to crop up among friends or your peers in the same profession. Learn to deflect envy by drawing attention away from yourself. Develop a sense of self-worth from internal standards and not incessant comparisons.
Oh, bang. Mate, so envy, it's one of the most painful emotions. And I was kind of glad to hear that it is a part of human nature and it's something you can actually overcome, which we'll get into toward the end of the chapter.
I think it's great to realize that everything, not everything, but a lot of stuff is driven by envy. So Robert Greene says a lot of the emotions we feel, the first emotion is really envy, and then it mutates into something else. But the starting point of this all is envy.
So with envy becomes the secret desire to hurt, wound, or steal from the envied person. And the whole reason we want to ride the unfairness that comes from his or her supposed superiority.
Yeah, I like it. It's a painful emotion because what we're really doing is we're realizing or admitting our own inferiority. We're realizing that somebody's achieved something great, which means that we're not as good as them. And that's where the envy comes from.
And it hurts, man. If you realize it's envy and you're admitting that you're not as good as the other person, it is so bloody painful.
Yeah.
And that's why straight away it moves from this pain of envy and it quickly transitions into something else.
Yes.
So everything, in order for the envious to feel entitled to take harmful action on this person who's superior, they must create some kind of narrative about how the other person is more superior.
Yeah, they might say, this person, they didn't deserve it, or they just got lucky, or they're unscrupulous in their behavior, or they're just trying to manipulate everybody. So they're coming up with some negative trait that they're putting on you due to the enviness that they felt.
And before you know it, because of the underlying envy, they act really rashly against you. And then there's confusion for you. It's like, fuck, why are they so mean to me? Or why are they so cold? Why have I been fired? And why is this person against me? And it's really hard for you to detect. It's really an envy attack.
Yes, you got to be very careful, because until reading this chapter, I definitely wasn't as aware that envy was a driver of so many of these things. And he says we need to understand that envy occurs most commonly and most painfully among friends or colleagues in the same position, because they're the types of people that have got the same goals and want to achieve the same things. And if you achieve it and they don't, that's where the envy is coming from most strongly.
So right now, it's not a question about becoming paranoid of all the people who might envy you. And as the title suggests, having fragile egos. It's simply becoming alert and picking up the signs of envy around you, so then you can defend yourself against these envy attacks.
Yeah, that's what he does in this chapter. The first one is sort of identifying envy. The next one is, modifying your own behavior around these fragile egos to reduce that envy. And then the third part is our own envy, how do we reduce our own envy and transmit that into something else.
So the quote he's got here by Gore Vidal is, "Every time a friend succeeds, I die a little."
Gore Vidal. He's not a good friend to have, I reckon.
Not a
I
good
don't
friend
even know who he is, but
not a good friend to have. But mate, there's a lot of, I think that's the default for a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
There are some friends who are genuinely happy for you, and they're the friends you want. But there are those friends, if you succeed a little bit and you let them know, you can just see them die that little bit, and it's painful. or
Really.
yourself. You know, like, we're talking about, we've all got a bit of this as well, right?
Oh, 100%.
So as you said, the first part, we want to detect the envy.
Yes. And so there's a few things that he says here that we can start to look around and realize that somebody's harboring this envy. So one he calls is the micro expressions. So if you tell somebody some good news about yourself, if you see a little sneer or a little bit of discomfort in them, that's a sign of envy. And inversely, if you tell them some bad news, if their eyes light up a bit and realize that, hang on, maybe this guy isn't such a godlike figure, and they sort of start to realize that, oh, maybe there's something bad happening here. I'm going to enjoy this story.
Exactly. There's this quick expression of disappointment when you tell them something good. And then they move into the fake, they're acting all happy. Yeah, so it's really quick.
It's that micro expression that it's hard to spot. But if you're about to share some good news with someone that you suspect is envious, it's probably a good time to be really focused on, okay, what am I going to pick up here in this micro expression?
Absolutely. And equally, tell them a misfortune of yours, and you'll notice the uncontrollable expression of joy. So you tell them, oh yeah, today I got fired. You see their eyes light up and getting excited, and then they move into oh shit, so sorry to hear.
That's so funny. Another type of thing that we can detect is poisonous praise.
This is good.
Yeah, I love this, man. It's just like it's just a backhanded compliment almost. So it's like if you get a promotion, then they'll be like, oh, that's great. Now you'll earn some more money. So it's almost like the whole reason that you wanted to get a promotion was just to get more money, not because you're going to have a more positive impact or that you've been doing really good work. It's just that they're saying that, oh, it was just about getting more money, you selfish little prick.
Yeah, exactly. It's extremely, extremely subtle, this. And the way you can detect is like you walk away feeling confused. Like they praise you, but you feel that little bit uncomfortable. It's odd.
Yeah, it's some kind of like he also talks about, say, if it's a creative thing, like if you have a new book or you make a film or you have some kind of business success and you're doing it for one reason, like it's as a creative expression, and they bring it back to a negative thing, like, oh, now you're going to be more powerful, or now you're going to be able to better influence other people, or now you're going to be able to make more money. Like they're going to bring it back to some kind of backhanded compliment.
Another one is gossiping. And if people gossip a lot about people because they're envious, and they might not explicitly, or they're definitely not going to explicitly say it's because of envy, you can be sure one day when you're not around, the gossip is going to be on you.
Yeah, exactly.
If people gossip to you, they're going to be gossiping about you another time. It's 100% it, man.
Oh, definitely, man. And the other one he calls the push and pull. He says that some enviers use friendship and intimacy as the best way to wound people. So they draw you in. They really want to be really good friends and see you a lot. And from the inside, then that's when they can start to inflict their envy attacks.
So there's a whole bunch of different types of enviers, and characterizes all the different types. So it's much easier to detect in your life. And through reading the book, when he does stuff like this, you can go, oh shit, that's that mate, that's that colleague or whatever. And then every now and then, oh shit, that's me.
They're the best ones.
Yes. So you got the leveler, and this person, when you first meet them, levelers seem rather entertaining and really interesting, but they're really good at putting people down. They've got very fragile egos, and their main goal is to bring everyone else down to that same mediocre level that they occupy.
Yeah, they're probably using those backhanded compliments, and they're probably spreading the gossip to bring everyone down to the same level. The next one is the self-entitled slacker. So everybody, or not everybody, especially these people, they feel like they rightly feel entitled to have success. They feel like they deserve good things in life, and usually they don't recognize that there's a fair amount of sacrifice and hard work involved in that. So when they see someone succeed, they think they get the envy of, why is this person succeeding, not me? And they don't think maybe it's because they worked really bloody hard.
That is exactly you, mate. It's we should get like a ding bell or something when we're talking about ourselves. And the other is the status fiend. So you'll notice them by the questions they ask. So they'll be always asking you, oh yeah, did you fly business class? How much money you on? Whether they own a home, all these other little petty things, because deep down they're just always really judging themselves against you and the other people around them. And if you confirm that you are flying business class and you own that nice home, it will hurt them that little bit more. They'll die that little bit more.
And inversely, they sometimes maybe drive old cars or dress shabbily, as just a way to, I guess, repress their
Ding!
own.
That's me.
I like it. Oh, bang on.
Yeah, so that'll be the idealistic hippie, while secretly yearning for these luxuries that people get through hard work. So they're putting on this front, they're like this hippie, the spiritual, they don't give a fuck about all those materialistic things, but deep down they're really desperate for it. That's a ding.
That's a ding, I love it. So next is envy triggers. Okay, so now that we've recognized some of these things that they might do, we've recognized some of these types of people. What are the things that trigger envious, and how can we, I guess, best blunt those? So one, he says that often, if there's so one, he says that what you should be doing is always inject a bit of self-deprecating humor. So rather than constantly sharing all the successes you're having, the deal you closed at work, your stock that you bought just went up, whatever it is, rather than sharing always your successes, have a bit of self-deprecating humor in there.
Mate, this is incredibly practical. So of the character types that we mentioned earlier, you're going to have some friends who are like that. Understand who they are, and these are the things you want to be doing to avoid envy coming up in them, so they don't try and destroy you in a really weird and subtle kind of way. That's a great first one, the self-depreciating humor. Another is when discussing your success and all the good things that are happening to you, always overemphasize the element of luck. So your natural superiority is a lucky thing that you just got through chance, not through any kind of nothing deserved.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what they're going to be thinking. So if you can call it out first and always play up that element of luck, that's a good one. Another one is to try and hide some of your natural talents. So if you do have natural talents, try not to flaunt them in front of these enviers.
Another, discuss the mistakes you've made in the past and all the things you've fucked up, and show some selective awkwardness that doesn't diminish your overall reputation, and don't just destroy yourself.
Yeah. It is a bit of a shame that you have to, play down your success, have some self-deprecating humor, hide your natural talents, play up luck, inject a few, mistakes. But yeah, it's a shame that you have to do that around some people, but it is true.
Exactly. Well, it's a good way of deciphering who your real friends are, probably from the fake ones. The ones where you have to hide big parts of your personality that are probably the best parts of who you are. Maybe they're not the best people to hang around, these envier types.
Yeah, I'd say that's very true.
So, mate, good news is, and I think all of us have times where we do experience envy. It's a part of human nature, thank God, but there is a way beyond envy where you can turn it into something really positive, which is fucking good.
Yeah, so this is for ourselves. So if we're feeling envy, here's some of the things that we can do to best mitigate that feeling of envy. So one, he says, is move closer to what you envy. So if you think someone's got the perfect family or the perfect relationship or the best job in the world, if you move closer to that, you realize that maybe it's not all the image that you've conjured up in your brain, that maybe there's a few things that you wouldn't be so envious about that situation. Yeah,
everyone's just showing their highlights reel, especially on Facebook and Instagram or whatever. You're just seeing all the highlights. When you get a little bit closer, you can just notice that if you live with them, you notice they shit twice a day and so forth.
Very true. I think another, a big one is hearing about people's jobs. And if you meet up with someone that you haven't seen for a while and you say, how's work been going? They're going to give you the first 3 sentences is going to be the best things that they've done from the last 12 months. And you might think, wow, they've got the best job in the world, but you don't see the monotonous day-to-day stuff that they're never going to tell you about. So by moving closer to that, that's when you realize that envy you're feeling is probably misguided.
Another way to move beyond envy is practice Mitfreud. I don't even know how to pronounce that.
That's pretty close, Mitfreud. I was waiting for you to do that one. So Mitfreud is the opposite of Schadenfreude. So Schadenfreude is enjoying other people's mistakes, or when something goes wrong, you enjoy it. So the opposite is Mitfreude. So practice enjoying when things go right for other people. So practice enjoying their success rather than enjoying their failures.
Another is transmuting envy into emulation. So if someone's actually better than you at something, rather than just feel envious, find out why they're better and how you can incorporate some of the traits they've got into your own life. And that's why it might be difficult hanging around people who are so much better than you at everything. But in reality, in the long run, you can probably take some of their character traits and improve yourself.
I like that one a lot. Rather than just, if someone achieves success, rather than feeling envious and thinking, oh, that guy got so lucky, or he's such a manipulative dog behind the scenes, think, what have they actually done, and what can I use in my own life that's going to help me achieve a similar sort of success? So transmuting envy into emulation, I think, is a great one. Another one he talks about in the book is downward comparing as well. So it's sort of like, realize that, yes, these people are achieving great success, but you've got to recognize that you're doing pretty bloody well as well. There's other people who are much less well off than you.
And admire human greatness. So admiration is the opposite of envy. And when you acknowledge people's achievements, you go, oh, fuck, they're pretty good at what they do, and you celebrate them, then you don't have to feel so insecure and have the envy. Mate, it's incredible steps to get over it. So what happens? So the next time you hear the sudden success of someone in your field or whatever, you need to be conscious and notice this inevitable feeling of wanting the same thing. And it's like this really subtle pain that happens as a part of you. And then naturally your human nature is going to turn it into hostility. And it's going to happen so quick that you miss the transition. But you need to monitor yourself and see these instances, and then you can move beyond envy. And then you can use these techniques to get away from this envy and turn it into real positive things.
Nice. I don't think I need to add any more to that. There was a fucking phenomenal ending.
Envy!